Let's talk about something the study authors mentioned that's absolutely crucial, but often gets lost in diet debates. Optimal eating timing differs between individuals. This isn't a cop-out or a way to avoid giving concrete advice. It's a fundamental truth about human biology that we're only beginning to understand properly. The future of nutrition isn't finding the one perfect diet for everyone. It's developing ways to identify which approaches work for which people based on their unique biology, and that includes timing of food intake. Chronotype is the most obvious source of individual variation. Your chronotype, whether you're a morning lark or a night owl, is partially genetic. Clock genes, particularly variants in genes like PR2 and clock, influence your natural sleep-wake preferences and your metabolic rhythms throughout the day. If you're genetically predisposed to be a night owl, forcing yourself into an early eating window that conflicts with your natural rhythm might create more stress and circadian disruption than benefit. Conversely, morning people might thrive with early time-restricted eating while struggling with evening eating windows. Your genes are providing information about when your body optimally processes nutrients. Microbiome composition is emerging as another source of variation. Your gut bacteria populations influence how you extract calories from food, how you handle different macronutrients, how you regulate appetite hormones, and even your circadian rhythms. Different bacterial communities might respond differently to fasting periods and feeding windows. Some people's microbiomes might thrive with intermittent fasting, others might see disruption. We're just beginning to understand these interactions, but it's clear that the trillions of microorganisms in your gut are part of the equation determining how you respond to dietary interventions. Hormonal profiles matter enormously, particularly for women, where you're in your menstrual cycle affects how your body responds to fasting. Some women do better with more relaxed eating windows during their luteal phase when energy needs are higher. Menopausal status, thyroid function, cortisol patterns, all these hormonal factors influence whether fasting feels manageable or miserable, whether it improves metabolic markers or causes problems. This is why generic fasting protocols that don't consider hormonal context often fail for women even when they work for men. Existing metabolic health is a huge predictor. Someone with significant insulin resistance might see dramatic improvements from intermittent fasting because they have so much room for improvement. Someone who's already metabolically healthy might see minimal changes because there's little to optimize. Someone with a history of eating disorders might develop problematic behaviors with any form of restriction. Your starting point determines where you can go with any intervention. Activity patterns and exercise habits interact with eating timing. Athletes training twice daily might need consistent fuel availability that conflicts with aggressive fasting windows. People doing intense morning workouts might need pre-workout fuel while others perform better fasted. Strength training athletes need adequate protein distribution that might require longer eating windows. Endurance athletes have different fueling needs than sedentary individuals. Your physical activity profile should inform your eating timing, not vice versa. Age is another factor we're just starting to appreciate. Metabolic flexibility, muscle mass, hormone production, and circadian rhythm amplitude all change with aging. What works for a 25-year-old might not work for a 55-year-old even at the same body weight and activity level. Older adults might need different approaches to preserve muscle mass and metabolic health than younger people. The optimal eating window likely shifts across the lifespan. Stress resilience and psychological factors determine whether time restriction feels like helpful structure or oppressive rules. Some personalities thrive with clear boundaries and rules. Others rebel against restriction and develop problematic relationships with food. Your psychological makeup isn't a minor consideration. It's central to whether any dietary approach is sustainable and healthy for you. Someone with anxiety might find that fasting increases their stress, while someone seeking structure might find it calming. So, what's the future of personalized nutrition timing? Ideally, we'd use a combination of genetic testing for clock genes and metabolic variants, microbiome analysis to understand your bacterial community, Continuous glucose monitoring to see how you personally respond to different eating patterns, hormone testing to understand your endocrine status, and questionnaires assessing chronotype, lifestyle, and psychological factors. You'd then receive individualized recommendations for when to eat, how long your window should be, and how to time eating relative to sleep and activity. We're not quite there yet. The science is developing but not ready for widespread precise personalization. However, you can start experimenting systematically now. Try different eating windows while tracking how you feel, your energy levels, sleep quality, workout performance, hunger patterns, mood, and stress levels. If you have access to tools like continuous glucose monitors, use them to see your personal glucose responses to meal timing. Keep a journal and look for patterns. Are mornings or evenings better for you? Do you do better with longer or shorter eating windows? Does it vary with your menstrual cycle if you're female? The key is approaching this as self-experimentation rather than following rigid rules. What works for your friend or some influencer online might not work for you, and that's not a personal failing. It's biology. Be willing to adjust based on how your body responds rather than forcing yourself to comply with a protocol that makes you miserable. Pay attention to multiple outcomes, not just weight. How's your energy? Your mood? Your sleep? Your hunger? Your athletic performance? Your relationship with food? A protocol that causes weight loss but ruins your sleep or creates food obsession isn't optimal for your overall health. The individualization principle also means being humble about making recommendations to others. What works beautifully for you might be terrible for someone else. Their chronotype, hormones, microbiome, activity patterns, and psychology are different. The best we can do is share what works for us while acknowledging it might not generalize. As research advances, we'll get better at predicting who benefits from specific approaches, but we'll never find one universal optimal eating pattern because humans are too diverse. Embracing that complexity rather than seeking oversimplified universal rules is the path toward truly personalized, effective nutrition strategies.